winners final. Filbeg on the left, PvpDavid on the right. It's a Talonflame lead onto the Lapras.
Is this good for Filbeg or not? He's shaking his head a little bit. This is not exactly what he wanted to see, but it's better than the Blast. Oh, he goes directly into that Tinkaton. This is what Filbeg wants. He has lured out that Tinkaton.
Luring out the Tinkaton with the Malamar is a great thing to do here for Filbeg because this superpower, yes, it is neutral against the Tinkaton and it will put it into the yellow. This can be a great farm down for Talonflame towards the end game. Bulldoze coming in for PvpDavid, opting not to go for that play rough.
Does Filbeg want to take out this Tinkaton now? I believe he would. Can he though? Because this superpower will threaten a knockout.
Superpower, back-to-back superpower here, and this will knock out PvpDavid's Tinkaton. PvpDavid pulls up that protection. Does he know there is another superpower in store for his Tinkaton?
Filbeg is playing this astronomically great. Now he has Upper Shield and he has Switch Advantage. Who can stop Filbeg?
Oh my, looks so bad for PvpDavid. In comes his Lapras to try and get that energy lead, but we know there is that Ferd, but we also know that PvpDavid has that Blastoise at the back. Does Filbeg make that read and come in with his Talonflame?
He does! Incredible read by Filbeg. But will he shield the Sparkling Aria or will he let his Talonflame go? He lets it go!
He lets that Sparkling Aria go. He's going to give all his shields for that Ferd at the backline. Sparkling Aria #1 comes in, but in comes his Blastoise. He gets to that fly before the rollout could knock out the Talonflame. Fly #1 comes in, and at this point, it's going to be the Ferd show. That cute little Pokemon is gonna come in and give this Blastoise hell.
That little spin that Ferd does, it looks cute, but now it's so threatening to PvpDavid. Filbeg, now that the Tinkaton was gone, Filbeg thought, this Furret can win me this game. I'm even going to take Water Attack on the Talonflame.
Yeah, what also happens here is that Filbeg goes for the Trailblaze before Blastoise gets to that second Hydro Cannon, throwing at not ideal timing to force the Blastoise to pull up that Protect Shield. So that's exactly what Blastoise does at this point. This is crucial here. Filbeg, will he pull up a Protect Shield? He says no. I'm going to try to Sucker Punch down the Blastoise.
With these Sucker Punches, I don't think the Blastoise can get to another Hydro Cannon. So now the Furret has boosted Trailblazers to throw into this Lapras. PvpDavid, can he get to 2 Charge Attacks or Psywave down the Furret? I don't think it is. He can. Filbeg is looking so good here.
Trailblaze comes in, puts that Lapras into the red here. Sucker Punching, slowly and steadily whittling that Lapras down, and it gets there, gets to that Swift to knock Lapras out. Filbeg takes the lead in the winners final.
Incredible game by Filbeg. He came in with his Talonflame against a Water-type Pokemon, let a Water-type attack through, and then just got to that fly, took away a lot of HP from that Blastoise, and then put it all on the Furret. And it worked out so well.
Darn, did it work out so well. Also, that Malamar, one of the reasons why I think it's a good showcase to show why you want to run that Shadow Malamar in this matchup. We saw Tinkaton is it's considered as such a polarizing matchup for the Malamar to go up against, but the Shadow came in, got to the first superpower, put that Tinkaton into the yellow, and then those Psywaves added up over time, got to that back-to-back superpower. Not only did Filbeg get rid of the Tinkaton to face against the Ferd, he got the shield advantage and also the switch advantage in that matchup.
Incredible display by Filbeg. I am in awe because he pulled out every stop to put that matchup in his favor. Put it all on the Furret and it did not disappoint. It was a very uphill matchup for PvpDavid once the Tinkaton was out of the way. And I think PvpDavid realized during the game this was a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate. It was so close as well. Getting to that superpower with 1 HP on that Malamar to force the Tinkaton to either shield again or let go of the switch was very crucial. One of the times that it shows that sometimes maybe, you know, having the right stat distribution matters.
I think Filbeg now might consider running his Swampert because what is the chances of PvpDavid running that Jump Bluff now that you saw the Talonflame come out and put in a lot of work?
Well, it's going to be risky, right? I think it's one of those times where it's a best of 5 as well. So if you win game 1, it's a good opportunity for you to test the waters a little bit more to see or try to get into your opponent's head. And that's exactly maybe what Filbeg would want to do. Let's see if PvpDavid understands this and brings up a counter strategy of his own.
Filbeg thinking it through. PvpDavid looking ready and locked in. And we have both of these trainers. They are tension. There's tension here. I can feel it that these trainers want this so bad. And Filbeg, he's getting ready.
Filbeg just needs 2 more wins to go into the next round, and it's round 2 already. We see the Malamar into a Malamar mirror. It's gonna come down to charge attack priority. Which of these Pokemon has that tiny bit of attack to try and win this game for them?
And this is a Shadow Malamar into the regular one. Who will win charge attack priority? Oh, they throw in charge attack priority, and it's the Shadow Malamar that wins the charge attack priority.
Filbeg's Malamar gets the charge attack priority, and this will do a ton of damage onto PvpDavid's Malamar, which of course is not the Shadow Malamar, so it's not going to do as much damage. But since Malamar of Filbeg is the Shadow type Pokemon, it's going to take 20% more damage. So it will even it out.
Filbeg will need switch advantage in this situation because he has a Furret in the back, and he needs to keep it away from that Tinkaton.
Yeah, but Furret with a shield advantage can still do well against Tinkaton, but let's see how these two players played out here. In comes the second foul play from PvpDavid, and Filbeg says, alright, if you're going to fight for switch, I am going to as well. Let's see how these two trainers played out. Maybe this is an opportunity for PvpDavid to go for that foul play charge attack tie or try to catch it on another Pokemon, but Filbeg and PvpDavid going for this foul play again.
Filbeg knows he is in control here. He can control switch advantage or shield advantage. And will he go for either? Maybe he can go for a farm down on his Tinkaton. No, he decides to shield up his Shadow Malamar. He knows that the energy and health on this Malamar is important and can come to great use against everything.
Yeah, at this point, you would want to go for the superpower here, but Filbeg says, all right, I'm not going to take any risk. I'm going to go for this foul play and see what is at the back here. PvpDavid's Malamar off the field, and still a lot of HP left on Filbeg's Malamar. But this Tinkaton is coming here. Will this be able to ferry win down? No, not before Filbeg's Malamar gets to another parting superpower. This is a great position for Filbeg.
Filbeg getting the most out of his Malamar. PvpDavid, can he risk running the Malamar lead ever again? Because here comes the Furret. It's kept away from the Tinkaton. It can start boosting up with its super effective Trailblazes.
But before it gets to that Trailblaze, Blastoise will meet it with that Hydro Cannon. This will do a ton of damage against that Furret, puts it into the yellow, but Furret gets to that Trailblaze. This Trailblaze will help it boost its attack. Trailblaze number 1 comes in, and there's no shield for both of these trainers to hide behind.
And the Blastoise gets to a Hydro Cannon. Just want to get rid of this annoying Furret as soon as possible. But now Filbeg can come in with his Tinkaton, get a farm down, and then threaten PvpDavid's Tink with his energy.
Yeah, Filbeg doesn't even want to wait for that switch clock as well. He knows all he has to do is get that energy, get that farm down onto that Tinkaton to get to back-to-back bulldozers to knock out PvpDavid's Tinkaton at the back. Hydro Cannon comes in from the Blastoise. Filbeg going for that switch immediately.
But there is a bulldoze stored on PvpDavid's side. Can he outpace Filbeg's Tinkaton? If he can get the debuff here, no. But can he win win charge attack priority in this situation? Then PvpDavid might still have a chance.
It's gonna be all about that charge attack tie again. No, actually PvpDavid's Tinkaton is at a bulldoze already, but again, Filbeg's Tinkaton wins that charge attack tie. This will send PvpDavid's Tinkaton back into the field, and last but not the least, in comes that Blastoise. This is going to be a fairy win down for Filbeg. 2-0 dominant display by Filbeg. The game hangs by the thread for PvpDavid. He needs to win the next game to bring himself back, to give him hope to continue on the winner's side of the bracket.
PvpDavid, this is his last chance to start taking a game off of Filbeg. If he does not win the next game, he gets knocked down to the loser's bracket. But the strategy has not changed for PvpDavid. He still needs to win 3 games if he can keep his composure and realize there's still 3 games that needs to be won. Nothing has changed for me.
In these scenarios, it's what you call is for PvpDavid the best of ones. He loses 1, it's over. So for him, every game he has to play like it's his last. Filbeg has a little bit of wiggle room. He has 3 games to bring out 1 win. If anybody can reverse sweep Filbeg, it is PvpDavid. He's been competing so much throughout the championship series, and he has done so well as a trainer. You can't count out PvpDavid at this point, but let's see how these two trainers work their way out in game number 3. What are their strategies? What will they change? But a thing to note here is Malamar of Filbeg wins Charge Attack tie against the Malamar of PvpDavid, and Tinkerton of Filbeg wins the Charge Attack tie against PvpDavid. So he has 2 Pokemon with just 1 extra matchup that's better for them in the mirror as well.
Very big advantage for Filbeg, and I don't think PvpDavid can risk leading the Malamar anytime again because of how terrible that led to his opposing Malamar, the mirror Malamar matchup to be.
Yep, it cannot be a Malamar lead, but then again, what do you lead if you're PvpDavid? We saw that Filbeg is not afraid to run that Talonflame into this line as well. It's going to be a lead. It's going to be these two trainers have locked in, and it's going to be a Tinkerton mirror. But we know this mirror is favored for Filbeg.
Because now Filbeg gets to keep his Furret away from that Tinkerton, and he has a Malamar also in the back, and this is looking great for Filbeg. I just want to note, Filbeg has not dropped a single game yet in this competition.
Wow, dominant display, but in comes the safe swap into that Blastoise, only to be met with this Furret. Furret does not want to be against that Tinkerton, so this is exactly where you want to put it if you are Filbeg. In comes that first Hydro Cannon from this Blastoise. It's not as cool as Colin's Blastoise, but it's here and it's trying to get the job done as much.
And Filbeg, he's throwing the super effective Trail Blaze, but the Blastoise outpacing the Furret will win this zero shield scenario. Will Filbeg put his shields on this Furret?
Yeah, he has to, right? He has bought that Malamar at the back, so he wants to secure that swap here. Furret, yes, of course, it is a shield down, but then again, Tinkerton will have to deal with these damage over time. Furret doesn't have a great matchup, but the longer it stays, the more it boosts up, the better it is for it.
This is a play ref coming through. Filbeg, does he want to save this Furret? No, he lets it go. PvpDavid has now spent all its energy on this Tinkerton. So can Filbeg start to threaten the opposing Tinkerton with their energy?
Yeah, Bulldoze, a lot of energy stored up on the side of PvpDavid's Tinkerton. He needs to try to dance around with the energy to try to pull this game back here. Bulldoze #1 connects for Filbeg, and PvpDavid goes for a Bulldoze of his own. Let's make sure that we understand that Filbeg is at a shield disadvantage here. So energy towards the late game could be pivotal in how this game turns out.
But Filbeg is now threatening a knockout on PvpDavid's Tinkerton if he doesn't put up a shield, but he does.
He does put up that Protect Shield, but look at the amount of HP his Tinkerton has here. It is so low. 1 Bulldoze is all it will take, and we know at this point the Filbeg's Tinkerton has reached that Bulldoze, so it can be a Charge Attack tie. PvpDavid could set up a catch here, going immediately into his Lapras. No, and he does, and it's a catch!
Should it be a debuff, a potential debuff? But this is still looking so good for the Malamar in the back for Filbeg.
Malamar is a nightmare of a match, and a defenseful! Oh my, it's all going the side of Filbeg here. Psywave's adding up for Malamar, but unfortunately PvpDavid's Psywave from that Lapras is barely making any dents onto this Malamar.
And there's a foul play bait as well. PvpDavid shaking his head. He's pointing out to the sky. He knows that this is looking so tough for him right now.
Filbeg, not having dropped a single game, is completely confident in this matchup. He also knows his Malamar will outpace that next Charge Attack. Foul play #2 coming in here. At this point, all he has to do is let go of the next Charge Attack from that Lapras and get that energy up. No, but there is no Charge Attack from the Lapras. Lapras is down. Malamar side-waving down this Tinkerton. Will Tinkerton be able to hold down? No!
And Filbeg is closing out winners finals. This is 3-0, and Filbeg has not dropped a single game. He is now 17-0 in this entire tournament.
17-0, Filbeg playing like a champion. He goes into the grand final like a boss, taking out final boss Colin as well beforehand, and now PvpDavid as well.